Hello, everyone, and welcome back into Crypto's News. It is me, your boy Omar Bam, your friendly neighborhood crypto, here to share with you what is happening in crypto today. And as usual, there is a lot that we're going to be getting into. I want to give a huge thank you to those of you who support the show by showing up and commenting. What's up, BT, Player One Taco, Pothead, 10 Pence, reminding everyone to hit the likes. Thank you so much for that. And subscribe if you're new and you want to stay on top of what is happening on in crypto. I'm here for you, and we do this as much as possible throughout the week, Monday through Friday. It's something that gives me great pleasure to do. So thank you for that support. Yeah, we did break 1,000 subscribers, and it feels good to see number going up there. It's really one of the main drivers for me right now. I came to Hollywood, as some of you guys know, to try to get a career in acting, but it has not been as fruitful as I'd hoped. And so it's been a kind of a bummer, I gotta say. And I may not have enough crypto to stay here much longer, but for now, while I'm here, I do have this studio built up for you guys, and I try to produce as much content as I can to dive into things. And so thank you for just being a part of this as we relaunch the show, sincerely. Let's go ahead and get into what's going on with the markets. So we have Bitcoin pretty much flat. We'll see if it manages to hold there. We'll be looking at what's going on with the Fed in just a moment, since we did have stocks finish, well, the Dow Jones finished about 400 points down, and there are some other factors at play here that could be bringing down risk assets. We do, however, have a very resilient ETH. Ethereum is up 1.7% on the day. And yeah, as I said, for the most part, we're pretty much flat with most of these tokens. The Bitcoin Mayor multiple, it was created by, well, by whatever you want to say. I don't think he likes to take too much credit, but by Trace Mayer, and he was an early Bitcoin evangelist and podcaster of the Bitcoin Knowledge podcast. But he had created this metric, and what you basically do is you take the multiple of the current Bitcoin price and you put that over the 200-day moving average to get a certain number. Bitcoin has traditionally been a great buy anytime that it's under the 2.4, and you want to generally sell anytime it's over the 2.4. That's this green line on the chart here. And we are sitting down at near historical lows, so these could be good points to be buying some Bitcoin. As you can see here, the mirror multiple has been historically higher than today's value 91% of the time. So I just wanted to take a look at it today since it's at a 0.68 and see where it was at. And it's telling us that it might be a fruitful time to be buying some Bitcoin. Although not a guarantee always, just be careful buying off of any single one metric. You really have to take a rather broad view. I just wanted to point that one out for those of you guys who haven't taken a look recently. So the Fed has been talking a little bit tougher. They brought out a few more individuals at the Federal Reserve to take away some of the dovishness, some of the lightness of that's been coming out since the Federal Reserve chair came out, and try to scare the markets a little bit more. It's driven up bond yields. They've climbed on the 10-year Treasury from 2.74% to 2.74% from 2.605% at Monday's settlement. So it's been going up. And this is primarily because of several comments being made by Miss Daly and Mr. Evans. So, for example, Mary Daly said that a pivot to the rate cuts, so maybe instead going down with rates rather than bringing up rates at the Fed, as the Fed has been doing by this year, is not her modal outlook, she said. The outlook, I think, is most likely is really that we raise interest rates and then we hold them there for a while at whatever level we think is appropriate. And Miss Loretta Mester said, we have more work to do because we have not seen that turn in inflation. So if we're seeing that interest rates are going up, this could be a troubling sign for risk assets, which could include crypto, and maybe why we're seeing more downside with stocks possibly coming up. Although I think for the most part, people are believing that's because of Nancy Pelosi, who is the first major U.S. government official to travel in the last 25 years to Taiwan. And China just does not like that since they feel like they might own Taiwan. Apparently, they've been flying over a dozen different planes over the Taiwan region, and this is stoking some fears about a possible war, whatever, and battles, but just more fear mongering out there. Some are saying that's what's been impacting prices for stocks, but as I've said, cryptos are holding up really nicely. I think this is because of Ethereum and the merge coming up, as we can see. Still at about 1,650, although it's not all the way at the highs of around 1,700 that it had previously hit. It's still right around up there, which is nice to see. Adam Cochran on Twitter, someone I do respect for his takes, did seem to think that we might be seeing some downside soon, as far as I can gauge off his Twitter. He says, seems the bond market has quickly absorbed the backtracking of Fed talk and making clear there is no pivot on the horizon. Stocks and crypto haven't seemed to respond nearly as much yet, despite the wild bond move. So I think if you're wondering whether he's leaning bearish for crypto or not, Truth had this comment, explain this in Fortnite terms. So this video game, Fortnite. And Adam Cochran said, your character is already dead, but you're still running around on the screen because you're out of sync with the server. You'll drop soon enough. So we'll see if some of that pessimism in price does play out, or whether Ethereum's merge coming up, 90% drop in issuance, basically no issuance that's going to be available immediately for at least 6 to 12 months, because miners will not be able to sell for their electricity because they're going to be locked up, and that could have a huge huge supply crunch, where if we see demand for Ethereum at the same levels as where it's at, could cause a huge price run up fundamentally that could be quite massive. Although we are seeing, and I'm sure you've heard about this, positioning from options traders that are hedging for the first time ever. We're seeing that Ethereum has more calls than Bitcoin. There are more trades taking place, more volume. It's flipping Bitcoin in that regard. So hedge funds seem to be taking a bet on Ethereum going up, and hedge fund traders are expecting that through the merge, if not through the end of the year, we could see a climbing ETH price. And so that seems to be a lot of the big talk right now, just to dive into some of the market stuff. I'm not sure. I actually missed that on the Binance change in terms and conditions user 12345 user. I'll have to look into that. If somebody can link that down below, I would love to hear about that. Yeah, I'll look at Robinhood and the Nomad Bridge exploit in just a little bit as we go here in order. But thank you guys for the tips on that. So Michael Saylor, as it says here in the title of this video, has been brought down from his role as chief executive officer of MicroStrategy, a intelligence, communication, finance, technology. They're a Bitcoin company. They're the first company to put Bitcoin on their treasury reserve asset ever. They were first founded in 1989 and they went public in 1998. Michael Saylor was the head of this company since the inception of it. He has been accruing huge amounts of Bitcoin, or really getting behind Bitcoin to bring it as a reserve asset for about almost 2 years now, which is when it seems like the first time that he bought Bitcoin. But anyway, his role is being the board of directors over at MicroStrategy, but no longer chief executive officer. That's going to be the previous president, Phong Lee, the company's president, who's going to be the new CEO. So this is kind of a huge thing since Michael Saylor has been at the top here. And I think for the most part, people are saying that this could be just kind of a PR move for the most part. Maybe, even though it's going to be the case that he is going to be leading Bitcoin advocacy initiatives, as I said here, and focusing more on the Bitcoin acquisition strategy, this could just be something that has been in the cards as the company tries to pivot away from being this like Bitcoin first company. Maybe Bitcoin just doesn't seem to be the right direction that most of the board of directors believe, or something else. And this is the best way to frame this, is to make it not look so bad, not just completely dismiss him from the company or his role, but keep him somewhere near the top, but really just a way to pivot away from Bitcoin. We'll have to see if that's the case, and whether they sell Bitcoin, what kind of impact that could have. Maybe that will be what leads us to the great Ethereum flipping. I don't know. Let me know your take on that, guys. But moving forward here, I think Bob Lucas here had some interesting comments to let us know. Trader, entrepreneur, investor, someone who's been a YouTuber. I haven't really followed his stuff, but apparently he's got quite a following. He's been primarily a Bitcoin YouTuber, but he has been Ethereum friendly in the past from what I've seen in some videos. But he had this to say in regards to the flipping. Unpopular take, but with Ethereum 2.0 and proof of stake, I believe Ethereum will have the narrative to flip Bitcoin near the highs of the next cycle. Maybe short-lived, but feels destined. My BTC followers will hate. Just stating view doesn't stop me from holding considerable Bitcoin position. If ETH hasn't died, actually thrived versus competitors after all these innovative L1s, it's not going away now, in my opinion. The translation here is if Bitcoin reaches a $150,000 peak in this next cycle and ETH flips, it implies so that's the market cap, relative to Bitcoin. ETH flips that, it implies a $25,000 price for ETH. Further thoughts on narrative. Market wants sexy and innovative. BTC is gaining perception of being stagnant, cementing role as just a store of value. Nothing's wrong with that if you just want to be the superior store of value, but pure store of values are not sexy. See gold. So some interesting comments there. The flipping is not something new. We hear all sorts of takes on it all the time. I've had my own throughout the years. Even very, very early on when this was just the Ethereum news show back in 2016, I used to do videos about the flipping, and I remember just getting so much hate about it. But even today, you have articles being written by the mainstream on the flipping. So this seems to be just something that's blowing up in consciousness more and more. Maybe even a self-fulfilling prophecy. I know I'm a hardcore ETH believer. I actually hold basically no Bitcoin at this time. Pretty much all in on ETH, primarily because of the merge coming up. That's not to say that I wouldn't be holding Bitcoin. We have now 91% as of today of all the Bitcoin that are ever going to be mined, completely mined. So for the next 160 years or whatever it's going to be, there are only 90% of the Bitcoin left to be mined. So it could very well prove to be a fantastic option for folks, and it's been the number one option since the beginning. But I think there's something to be said about innovation, as Bob Lucas talks about here, and so many of the sexy things that are being done and will be done likely with Ethereum going forward here. And the fact that you haven't had these layer one Ethereum killers really do anything impactful to destroy Ethereum, I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for the merge to happen in proof of stake for them to take over. But this is just, to me, showing the anti-fragility of Bitcoin's spot as a leader in the smart contract space, if not the best. Yeah, thanks, BT. Yeah, I've been talking about it for years. It tends to piss some people off, but at this point, we have just the hardcorest of followers here on the show, as we're right around 1,020 followers right now. So I don't think it really matters too much what I'm saying. I can be a little bit more forthcoming and blunt with you guys. I'm still thinking that the ETH flipping could be so huge because when it does happen, it's going to change the very perception that Bitcoin has to stay at the top. And I think you could have huge inflows that are now ready for Ethereum. In the beginning, there were way more on-ramps for Bitcoin. Bitcoin had so much more going for it since when I got started. But now it's like so many people know how to buy Ethereum and it's so much easier for them to do it. The biggest problem would be, of course, the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States, just stopping us here in the States. Although we're not the entire world, I think it could impact the price. But if they were to call or label Ethereum as a security, it could slow down the on-ramps. But I think that's just something that could impact things for the short, medium term. For the longer term, I don't think it's anything that could really brutally affect Ethereum as long as it continues to have huge utility and demand versus shitty fiat. So I'm quite hopeful on the flipping just continuing to drive the price higher as the narrative changes that Bitcoin has to be at the top. And so much else that I'm continuing to read. I'll share that with you as we go along. So going forward here, this was something that came out around the beginning of the day that I noticed. Gucci, they first put the tweet out and apparently there was a spelling error. And so they had to put it up. But here it is in all its glory. It still has a grammatical error here, as you can see, but whatever. So they said now accepting Ape Coin. So the Ape, it's a governance coin that's built off of the Yacht Ape Club, the crypto, the Ape Yacht Club, whatever the BAYC crap. So anyway, via BitPay, which accepts different cryptocurrencies, can convert them to other cryptocurrencies so that a business or individuals or whatever can accept something for payment and receive whatever they want. So it looks like Gucci is now accepting ApeCoin payments via BitPay at select Gucci boutiques in the USA so that Richard Hart can go over, like Richard Hart probably has any ApeCoin. I think he's probably quite happy with his Hex position, his Hex and Ethereum position to be holding much else. But maybe he has some ApeCoin to go and buy some new outfits for himself at Gucci that he likes to wear. But anyway, this is going to expand the range of cryptocurrencies available for in-store purchases for these Gucci boutiques. Yet another step in the house's exploration of Web3. I don't know that it's much of an exploration of Web3 as an attempt to make some money off of those who probably have their yacht apes, and they have a nice price floor that I think are some of the only NFTs that definitely could be sold for some amount of money and probably will have value along with CryptoPunks. Some of the better ones. So taking advantage of this rather affluent crowd who perhaps shop at Gucci, maybe there is a confluence of them. Maybe the people who have those NFTs also have a lot of Gucci on them. I don't know, but Gucci seems interested in exploring it that way and some sort of profiting off of it. But doing so via BitPay isn't exactly accepting a crypto directly. So it's, again, just a way to look good. But although I think it is important that we do have options like BitPay for more adoption and payment of crypto. At least it looks nice. And it would be great to be able to pay at more and more places with your crypto if that's what you so choose to do. Some cryptos, of course, are better for payments than others. Yeah, for you to decide, I guess, on that. But Nomad was hacked. This was a cross-chain bridge. So if you want to, for example, have like Bitcoin living on the Ethereum blockchain, you could use the wrapped Bitcoin bridge. You could use a wrapped Bitcoin bridge to lock up Bitcoin on one chain, and then that gets minted as like WBTC on the Ethereum chain. So there was this bridge that had multiple tokens on it called Nomad. I didn't hear about it till just yesterday. I wasn't using it, but it was a huge hack that resulted in over $200 million just leaving it down to basically nothing. All these funds were drained in a matter. I mean, I was following Twitter, and it happened in a matter of what it felt like 2 hours. All this money was gone. It was a huge chaotic hack, as you can see here. I'm not going to go through all of this of how it worked, but Sam CZ's son did go through that. If you want to check it out for yourself on Twitter, I will read basically the TLDR here. So Nomad just got drained for over 150 million. He wrote in this original post, in one of the most chaotic hacks that Web3 has ever seen. This is basically looting that took place here. How exactly did this happen, and what was the root cause? Allow me to take you behind the scenes. He goes all into it, but again, I'm going to skip down to below. This is the hack was chaotic. You didn't need to know about Solidity, Ethereum's programming language, or Merkle devil trees or anything like that. All you have to do was find a transaction that worked. So the original hacker find his transaction, find and replace the other person's delivery address for where the funds would go after being drained with yours, and then rebroadcast that transaction. So you could have just taken that transaction, replaced the address, gone to Etherscan, submitted it, and boom, you could have taken out some money yourself. TLDR, a routine upgrade to the smart contract for Nomad marked the zero hash as a valid route, which had the effect of allowing messages to be spoofed on Nomad. Attackers abused this to copy paste transactions and quickly drain the bridge in a frenzied free-for-all. Oh, there's Richard Hart, user unaffected as always. Yeah, right. So yeah, there were messages popping up on Discord. He was Fat Man. Messages popping up in public Discord servers of random people grabbing 3K to 20K from the Nomad bridge. One had to do again was the same thing: copy the transaction in true crypto fashion. The first decentralized robbery. Yeah, usually it's not the case that you can see so many looters taking advantage of something like this. Although there were others who did rescue some funds from what I could see. I didn't take the name of the accounts that I had found, but some did try to rescue funds like you often see white hat hackers do. They try to rescue funds to try to give it back to the protocol or to try to give it back to users afterwards. And there was fear I saw on Discord as well and on some of these places that, hey, if you try to copy this transaction, then the authorities could be coming after you. This is some giant psyop. This is done to entrap you. This is being done on purpose to lure you into this scheme to protect others. And so there was fear from folks. It's not like everyone took advantage of this immediately. I guess you have to have been quick to do it. And there are investigations taking place now. Nomad has announced that they've contacted authorities. So I don't know. I don't know if any of you guys took advantage of that. But again, it was a rather quick thing, and you had to have been in the right place to basically take advantage of that situation. Thoughts on the NF Tiffany CryptoPunk pendant for 30 ETH? Way too expensive is what I think. I personally feel like ETH is going to be very, very valuable. I'm someone who does still feel that. I've felt that since ETH was like $10 still, and I still continue to feel that. And so to pay that amount of money to get a pendant, which is, again, you're just exchanging it for not even pure diamonds, for some gemstones that may not have a huge amount of value, certainly value accrual compared to ETH, in my opinion. It just seems like something you do if you have money to waste. That's what it seems like to me. Nomad is horrible, and it turned into a public copy and paste hack. Indeed, indeed. Hey, Renee, thank you so much for the love out there. I hope everything is good over there in San Francisco Bay and beautiful for you today. So Kim Kardashian, if you remember back, I don't know what conference it was. I remember being there, and there were so many shills shilling this token that looked like Ethereum, but it was a red logo of Ethereum, and they called themselves Ethereum Max. This project was being promoted by Floyd Mayweather. It was being the boxer. It was being promoted by Kim Kardashian. Celebrities who were being supposedly paid a lot of money in these tokens or other tokens in order to shill Ethereum Max on social media to unwitting followers who may not know the difference between real Ethereum and Ethereum Max. This led to lawsuits that were taking place. Kim Kardashian and her legal team have refuted apparently the 10 claims that the lawsuit brought against her. And there were a few here that were brought up in this Cointelegraph article that I think are interesting. So it looks like she's really, she may in fact get off scot-free off of this situation. So crucially, none of the plaintiffs alleged that they in fact view either the Instagram post or posts. I think there were more than one back then, before purchasing tokens during the relevant time period. So they didn't see Kim Kardashian directly shilling it. They just bought it themselves. Okay. I find that hard to believe, but okay. There was another one. There was no effort that she had ever been paid in those tokens of her. There's no proof, evidence of her ever purchasing, receiving, or selling the tokens herself, and so on. So this looks like she may got scot-free off of that. Just to follow up on this bit of news that I remember we talked about, but it's, to me, whatever. It's not like it's really going to materially impact her anyway, since I'm sure she has plenty of her money. And she probably holds legit cryptos now after her foray early on in crypto. I think more people become Bitcoin maximalists, for example, because they get burned on shit coins. That's how you get this new wave of Bitcoin maximalists if they've been around for a while, is that eventually they become to realize that sometimes these NFTs they bought may not have been the best investment, or like the ICOs back in 2017, and they go back to the big dog and they join a family of cult-like people that at least help them support their arguments. And there's definitely there's probably more body of research on Bitcoin than anything, more books written on Bitcoin than anything, although I think Ethereum is catching up. It's just easier to support something like that. Pearson, so they're one of the biggest publishers of textbooks. I just thought this was a big nothing burger as well. The most ridiculous thing that I've seen in regard to NFTs, and I've seen some ridiculous things, but this one is just predatory to me, since the publisher is already predatory. If you've been to college, you've seen this, the amount of money that they charge for textbooks, and they keep creating new editions of the textbook, first, second, third, fourth, and you have to buy that edition for this class in order to stay relevant with that class. And really, they eat into a lot of students' funds, having to do this semester after semester. But these textbook publishers may not be making money on the secondhand market. They're not making any money, they say, on the secondhand market. So if you go and buy that book used on eBay or one of these other platforms that now exist, the original publisher like Pearson doesn't get any money. So they want to instead take advantage of NFTs. Like, how is this going to work? How is this going to work, Pearson? Because they haven't really said anything here in this article I'm seeing on The Guardian about exactly how they plan to do this. But they plan to profit from secondhand sales, it says here, by turning their titles into non-fungible tokens, NFTs, the chief executive has said. Educational books are often sold more than once, and students sell study resources they no longer acquire. Publishers have not previously been able to make any money from secondhand sales, but the rise of digital textbooks has created an opportunity for companies to benefit. So transferring digital ownership by turning them NFTs into NFTs. How does this work in a decentralized fashion without having some sort of centralized platform to vet this and to get access to these things? It just seems so weird, and like a real reach for anyone really, and for Pearson especially, to be able to do this. Anyway, what does it say here? The CEO, Andy Bird, explained his plan to sell digital textbook as NFTs, allowing the publisher to track the ownership of a book even when it changes hands. In the analog world, a Pearson textbook was resold up to 7 times, and we would only participate in the first sale. We want more money. We want your sales in perpetuity. And imagine this happening to anything else that you bought. And I think what others have pointed out is that books are a weird thing to try to hold as an NFT, as a collectible, as a property, because what most people get out of value out of books, especially textbooks really, is reading it once or getting through that class once, not holding it as a collectible. Yeah, I have some of my textbooks from college, but I wouldn't go out of my way to turn that into some sort of NFT so that I can commemorate that on the digital blockchain. I could be totally wrong, and maybe Pearson is really thinking ahead here, that people want to just continue to pay them some sort of fee every time, but something tells me that this is a real reach and it's going to be heading nowhere. I don't know what you guys think. What if they made them as dynamic NFTs so that updates are automatically passed through token gated site access? That sounds really awesome, but I assume that they would still want to make money off of that every single time that it dynamically changes, right? So I don't know how that would be very different. They wouldn't want to lose any money on this, so they'd rather that you buy all the new editions. But usually, let's say that you took that class and you had that book specifically, you're not going to be buying the same book or the next edition. Usually you're going to move on to a brand new version of it, or like, let's say you get to the next level of that class or to a different course, it's just going to be a different book. So I don't know how you dynamically would want to read updates to that book anyway. I could imagine that being really cool for like Player One Taco, for something like a comic book or some sort of choose your own adventure novel that could change, almost like a TV series. Maybe you're onto something and you want to do that, and maybe someone else gets inspired listening to this. So thanks for that question. Actually, very interesting, Player One Taco, that you bring that up. See, that's already pushing pushing the envelope a little bit better here than Pearson and what they've said. But Robinhood's crypto division slapped a $30 million fine. Apparently, they were fined $30 million by the New York State Department of Financial Services for failing to comply with anti-money laundering and cybersecurity regulations. They're going to have to put up a phone number. They didn't have a dedicated phone number on their website for consumer complaints and therefore had failed to comply with consumer protection requirements. So Robinhood has been having a bad day because besides this and them not taking precautions in this regard, although I think regulations can be quite burdensome, even Robinhood, who has friends in Wall Street, can't escape. It looks like from this message that we're getting right now from CEO and co-founder Vlad Tenev, I believe this was brought up by BT here on the your way to stay on top of things because this just came out right before the news. So it's come out that they're laying off further than 9% of the workforce as had been announced earlier in the year. The layoffs are even steeper right now, to the tune of approximately 23% of the headcount at Robinhood, which allows for free crypto and stock trading. I say free in quotations because they make money other ways, front-running trades, selling your data. But, I mean, at least you get to take, it's kind of like options. I would say that really, if you're going to be buying, selling securities or cryptos on Robinhood, that as long as you're not day trading and trying to do this quickly, then if you feel like something is really going to go up or down over a certain period of time and you hold for that your position for that long a period of time, you can still make more of a profit. So I think it can be better than some of the steeper fees that we see on other brokerages like Vanguard, for example. So I'm not going to try to knock Robinhood completely. I think they are an innovative product for sure, and I've used them throughout the years. But anyway, it is interesting that they are letting go so much of their staff. This is huge. I haven't seen any other company let go of such a huge proportion of their workforce. And so it seems like the main reason is additional deterioration of the macro environment since the last announcement, with inflation at 40-year highs accompanied by a broad crypto market crash, which has further reduced customer trading activity and assets under custody. So it looks like Robinhood is crashing here, and it seems a lot of the pain seems to be coming from crypto specifically. Maybe with crypto going up, they felt like they could hire more staff and so on, but now it's going to be reorganized. So, just another company laying more off. It's just signs that we are in a recession, if not depression already, as we see this happening right now, because people who lose jobs have to look for other jobs. It's just bringing down availability. And you have the Fed basically acting in the rearview mirror. They're setting policy based on past metrics, CPI, rather than being more forward-looking, like you see companies that are trying to manage margins rather than stocks in the markets that are forward-looking. So I think we're getting signs of things here. And hopefully the sign is that crypto keeps going up and takes over everything else. What is the current price? Let's go check. What is going on here? Did we go down? Did we go up? Oh, we went down for Ethereum. We're down about $10 since I started the video. Not too bad. We're still holding up, 0.8% high. May Ethereum, flipping, fiat, flipping everything. That's what I really hope for. I don't care if it's Bitcoin and Ethereum flipping. Let's just flip in everything else. Anyway, the New York Attorney General, they've been known for going after in lawsuits companies that have violated New York citizen investors and their rights or whatever in New York. So NYIG is now asking investors affected by Luna, UST, Anchor, Celsius, Voyager, Stable Gains to contact the office of Letitia James, the New York Attorney General. So they want to hear comments, basically, if anyone was affected and lost funds due to the freezing of funds by these different platforms that have recently gone down. And they also are asking for whistleblowers of these companies to reach out and file some whistleblower complaints with the Attorney General. So this isn't something that is likely going to lead to lawsuits from the New York Attorney General against these companies on behalf of customers. It's probably something that's going to just result in fines, I would say, for these companies as New York tries to get theirs. This is something I would say to help more the politicians rather than the average individual. I don't know how much money they would hope to even get here, since there are just countless lawsuits continuing to come out against these companies daily, it feels like, on behalf of different parties. Like just yesterday, there was, I was informed, let me see if I can find it here via messages. Where was it? Is it Cell Watcher here? Yeah, who let me know that there was a CoinDesk article on, for example, if you have funds at Celsius Network and those were not in the earn accounts and those were in the custody accounts, that you might be able to participate here. There's a group taking place that has formed that is trying to get back $180 million. So apparently out of all the over $4 billion that is held for customers at Celsius, only about $180 million is held in custody accounts. And so they're trying to get those funds because it's not clear in the terms of service whether Celsius owns all those funds or not. So just another possible lawsuit here. Although this doesn't seem to be like an exact lawsuit yet, it could evolve into that as they've tapped a lawyer to help Kirkland and Ellis. But my point is that there's just continue to be these lawsuits, and more of these lawsuits mean more money to spend in court, to waste, and less money that could be eventually given out to depositors, which kind of sucks. So I don't know. It's like people trying to take money from a basket that's already dry, from a bucket that's already dry. It seems kind of strange. But yeah, if you want to file a complaint, go ahead and waste your time. That's the way I see it. Help out Letitia. Anyway, the bankruptcy court related to Celsius has asked, however, in relation to those terms of service, that Celsius provide a list of all the changes and dates to the terms of service that they've done. You remember the terms of service that say basically all your funds belong to us on Celsius. So the court has directed that since 2018, there have been multiple versions basically of this terms of service, as we found out from the declaration of Alex Mashinsky. And now they're asking that until August 8th, 2022, they want to list exhibits of each version of the debtor's terms of use to have been in effect. And they want, where was it? Use was in effect, whether the debtors provided, and they want to know if customers and counterparties were provided each time a list of those changes or directed to look at the new terms of service when these changes were made. Usually I've seen that companies have been quick to let us know whenever these terms change. I don't remember if Celsius did this or not personally, but this is something that's going up in court, which I thought was just interesting, and just wanted to share that with you to continue following up on all this Voyager Celsius drama, of course. And I know that many of you guys were as well. So I'm This Guy had this comment to say on ETH Finance on the subreddit in relation to this. The judge requested this because about a month or two prior to freezing withdrawals, Celsius changed their terms of service to state that all crypto deposited on the Celsius platform belongs to Celsius. Basically, the money in your account isn't yours anymore. Not only is this incredibly shady on its own, but records indicate that Celsius was already insolvent when they changed their TOS. And since they were operating as an unregulated bank and an unregulated hedge fund, there are questions as to whether their TOS is valid to begin with. I leave that for you to decide, my friends. No, actually for the courts to decide. Although, again, it's not like they have a huge amount of money. And from my understanding, I think Simon Dixon of Banks of the Future was on Twitter posting this just yesterday. It looks like the mining arm, so we know that Celsius took depositors' money and created a mining company without their express permission, if they even needed it, that the mining arm, because of Bitcoin's price, because of mining hash power, has not even been profitable, as there's a difference between profit and revenue. So whether they'll be able to eventually get enough Bitcoin, it's kind of ridiculous to me. So Celsius's plan is to basically keep their mining operations going. That's their main plan, is to keep their mining operations going long and hope that their customers stay long crypto, don't demand any other money immediately or otherwise, and eventually they can make enough money with Bitcoin. Bitcoin climbs in price, and then they can pay depositors back. That seems like the biggest hopiumist plan that I've ever heard of from any major, if you could call Celsius major company, or especially by assets. It's kind of ridiculous. All we can do is laugh and hope. And in relation to that, I think I will finish with our quote of the day here. A single sunbeam is enough to drive away many shadows. Francis of Assisi. 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 I'm not really sure. But anyway, I encourage you guys to be those sunbeams. I know a lot of people need it around the world. Um, and it's good to set an example, to be strong, to lift others up when uh, it's good to be a good role model in that way, I think. And I encourage you to do so whenever possible. Anyway, we'll finish the show there. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's like every day brings so much drama in crypto. I love it. It gives me something to talk about with you guys. And I thank you for joining me here in the conversation and adding your bits here in the live chat, adding them later on in the comments. I don't have the time to just follow every single rabbit hole. As you can see, I've just touch the surface of so many. So please dig deeper into any of these. That's always what I hope, if they are relevant to you, and I hope to inspire you to do so in order to find your own opportunities and pay them forward, pass them forward whenever you can. I do that in my way by having this show here, and hopefully you took something away from today's. I look forward to the next one with you. Take care. Much love, everyone, and stay cryptic. Peace. What the? What the heck? I need a better CPU. We're slowing down here. Too many tabs open. What is happening? Okay. I guess we're just going to have to call it. My computer is having a heart attack right now. It doesn't even want to end the stream. That's what happens when I open too many tabs. You know, it's good that we're having technical difficulties at the end of the show for the most part, as far as I know. But you're invited to leave, or I can just hum some music on your way out. Do thank the Patreon people. Thank them very much. Thank them for the support. Da 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 da. Crypto's news, bringing you the most important stuff that you need to know. I love